Good late morning to you. We are the Macomb Symphony Orchestra, and you're here for our second of the two youth education concerts. We hope and know that you will enjoy what you're going to hear, but more importantly, or as importantly, you'll learn something that you may not have known before you came in. By the way, before you get out into the lobby and get home, there will be a written test. Maybe not. We're going to start by 2 or 3 pieces this morning of doing something with audience participation, and nothing better than the national anthem. So if you'll rise, we'll all sing together. Nice job. We'll have some more for you to do as we progress this morning into the early afternoon. We're going to play music from around the world, many places at least. The first one will be a Russian piece, a piece from Russia, a country that's been in the news recently. And we're going to play a piece from the 19th century by a composer named Alexander Borodin. His maybe most famous piece is the dances, the ballet section, from his opera Prince Igor. And the dances were done by, supposedly, the Polovetzian maidens. I'm not quite sure what Polovetsia is, but it's probably not in Crimea. So we're going to play the Polovetzian dances from Prince Igor, and this is a real foot tapper. You've come here to see and hear the Symphony Orchestra, and I thought maybe an introduction would be appropriate. We are a symphony orchestra. We are the Macomb Symphony Orchestra. We perform here regularly. We'd love to see you back here for a regular evening concert or Sunday afternoon concert, maybe with your parents or others, neighbors, what have you. But for the moment, we're going to talk a little bit about what constitutes, what makes up the symphony orchestra. There are 4 families of instruments in this orchestra. They're not all the same, but they are related in many respects. The string family, which is the most numerous, closest to you in front of the stage here. The woodwinds in between, the brass at the back, and the percussion section off to the, let's see, your left. So we're going to introduce the various members of this section, of these sections, of these families is what I really want to say. And we start with the strings. There are 2 sections of violins. They play the same kind of instrument, they tune the same way, but they play, according to the composer's directions, different musical notes at the same time. The first violins, and the second violins. Those might be thought of in a choir, an adult choir, as being soprano voices in the orchestra. The alto voice, somewhat lower, is the viola. Now the viola looks similar, but it's a little bit larger than the violin. Over to your right are the cellos. And at the back of the section, behind the cellos, are the big double basses. The string section. Now we can do the same thing with the woodwind section, we can do the same thing with the brass section, starting from the highest. The highest of the woodwind instruments is really not made of wood any longer, except for its little brother, the piccolo. Here's the flutes and the piccolo. Next to them, playing a very different kind of instrument, which has a reed, actually 2 pieces of reed that vibrate against one another, are the oboes. In the second row of the woodwinds, the clarinets. And the largest of the woodwind instruments, the 2 bassoons. The woodwind family from soprano, alto, tenor, and bass. The brass section, similarly as I said, starts with the smallest and also the highest pitch. Generally speaking, the smaller the instrument is, the higher it can play. The trumpets. The sort of alto, sometimes the composer's favorite melodic instrument in the woodwind, in the brass section rather, are the French horns. And next to the trumpets are the trombones with their slides, which make them a little different than everybody else. And everybody's favorite instrument, the tuba. Whoa. At our earlier performance this morning, we had a second grader crawl into the tuba, and we haven't seen him since. The percussion family is made up of lots of different instruments. Some play melodically, some play what you might call drums. Sometimes when you talk to someone who plays this instrument, they'll say, I'm a drummer. Well, that is a small corner of being a percussionist. Percussion means to beat something. Sometimes you do it with your hands, sometimes with a stick, sometimes with a mallet. And the percussion family is a smaller group of people, but playing a whole lot of different instruments. The percussion section. Great. Well, we played a real rouser for a starter at Polovitsian dances. We're going to play something a little bit more restrained, a piece from England by a guy named Arthur Sullivan. He was a partner with a guy named Gilbert, and they wrote a lot of funny pieces about 150 years ago as Gilbert and Sullivan. This is, of course, Sullivan's music, because we're not doing any of the words, any of the acting. And it is the overture to the Pirates of Penzance. Penzance is a little city in far southwest England. for it. It's a very funny show. Very humorous, full of all kinds of funny things going on. An operetta, which this was, the overture, is a little bit like a Broadway musical. A lot of good tunes, a lot of funny stories and things of that kind. And that was Gilbert and Sullivan's music to the Pirates of Penzance. We're going to go ahead and play something that you should recognize. How many of you watch cartoons on Saturday morning, probably? Does anybody not watch cartoons on Saturday morning? If you don't have a TV, that's a little tough. Okay, this is what's up at the Symphony. A lot of classical pieces, all kind of strung together, but used many times to things like Bugs Bunny and the Roadrunner and other cartoon characters. What's up at the Symphony? What's up at the Symphony? Lots of music, Brahms, Liszt, Wagner, a lot of famous composers all run together, and much to their surprise, borrowed, is that a nice word? By people who put music together for cartoon characters and cartoon stories. What's up at the Symphony? We're going to do some music from Norway next. The composer is by far the most famous Norwegian composer. His name is Edvard Grieg. He wrote some lovely melodies and famous tunes that are sung and played many, many times in many places. This is from some music for a play, Sigurd Juselfar, and we're all familiar with him. He used to sit behind me in English. Maybe not. But we're playing the Homage March from that suite of pieces that accompanied a play by Heinrich Ibsen, the famous Norwegian playwright, who I'm sure you're all familiar with. And here's the Homage March. When we gave our introductions to the families of the orchestra, I mentioned that the string family is the largest. Many times they play, well, a significant number of times, they play all by themselves or with very few wind instruments. We're going to play a piece that shows off the string section. this time by a Swedish composer. We've just done a Norwegian piece. The next country east from Norway, look it up on the map, is Sweden. And we're going to play a piece called the Gothic Suite, open up the Gothic Suite, by a rather obscure composer whose last name is Hahn, H-A-H-N. And you can look him up in your Groves Dictionary and you'll probably find him. Fun little piece. Gunter Hahn is the composer's name, and it's the Gothic Suite, or a short portion thereof. Well, we talked when we started about the instruments.
We have prizes.
Oh,
we have
who is
prizes.
this man?
Hey,
John Corrado.
Who is that? And good morning, junior citizens. How are you liking it so far? Huh? Isn't it terrific? No morning classes and music too, all at the same time. How about a big hand for the Macomb Symphony Orchestra? And Maestro Cook. And we're going to clap even more because he's going to pick the winning ticket out of here for a bowling party. Which school wants to win it? That's the one he's going to pick. Here you go.
It's the Yale School of Law. Oh, no, it's not. Harrison Liberty Homeschool. See us in the lobby, and you can get the certificate for the bowling party. It involves food and beverages, as well as the bowling party. Thank you, and congratulations. We were about to talk about the various component members of the various families of the orchestra, and we're going to start by hearing something from the string section, or the various members of the string section. Remember the names of the instruments? Violin, what's the next one? Viola? Cello, we should all be together, and bass, right. Here's the violin. You know, from where you're seated, the viola doesn't look much bigger than a violin. In fact, it looks the same, but it is larger. And it plays, you'll soon see, a little bit lower, a little more mellow sound than the violin. Here's the viola. Viola. You can't mistake the violin from the cello, which is much larger and is played, of course, in a different arrangement between the legs. Here's the cello. Cello. And much to my surprise, that music was from Lukewarm? No, Frozen. The double bass at the back of the section plays our lowest notes. Double bass. The bass doesn't get a chance very often to play solo roles, but there's one for you. The woodwind section, again, kind of four instruments. Sometimes there's other instruments in the woodwind section, but the principal four are the flute, the flute. The way the sound is created on the flute is very, very different than the way the sound is created on the oboe, which is considered a double reed instrument. Two little pieces of cane that flap against each other, vibrate against each other. Here's the sound of the oboe. The oboe, the double reed instrument. The single reed instrument in this family, in the symphony orchestra at any rate, is the clarinet. Clarinet. Clarinet's relative that we don't have generally in a symphony orchestra is the saxophone. It also has a mouthpiece and a single reed, but the lowest instrument in the woodwind family is another double reed instrument, kind of related to the oboe, at least in the way that the sound is created. It is the bassoon. You can tell that he plays the bass notes. Yeah, the bassoon. The bassoon would be 12 feet long and we're all stretched out, but it's actually two different pieces of maple kind of fused together to make it a more malleable, playable instrument, and one you can actually get into your car. The brass section, from the highest to the lowest, you all are familiar, I think, with the trumpet. And they're off. The French horn is about 4 times longer than the trumpet, has a much more mellow sound. The bell, that is the opening, sort of faces away from us, so we put the French horns in a place where they can sort of reflect off the wall. You get this nice, round, warm sound from the French horn. French horn. The trombone, actually in the Italian language, the word trombone means big trumpet, but it doesn't look like a trumpet, it doesn't sound like a trumpet, and it's certainly not played like a trumpet because it has a slide instead of valves. The trombone. Trombone. And at the bottom of the orchestra, at the bottom of the brass family, is the tuba. Tuba. So, all of these instruments playing together, what a harmonious sound it makes when they're all together and when the composers have done their job properly. We have yet to hear from the percussion section. Again, there might be 20, 30, 40 different instruments that occasionally are used in the percussion section, but here are the 3 perhaps most common: the snare drum, the bass drum, and the cymbals. And there you have it. Okay, we're going to have another audience participation. You ready? Of course. This is a march. It's an American piece. We've been all this European music and what have you. I'm going to play a piece by a guy named Edwin Franco Goldwyn, rather, I guess. And it's a march that was very famous many years ago in the 1920s, 30s, and 40s. And it's still heard today. And it has this kind of a participation thing. It's called On the Mall. Played outdoors on the mall, a street of sorts, and the audience was invited to participate. So we're going to invite you to participate, even though we're not, thank goodness, outdoors today. And we're going to play the portion in which we would like you to la 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 to the tune, and then the second time around, whistle to the tune. And in order for you to get this tune in your head, we're going to play just that portion which you're going to participate in, we trust. And I'll come into the audience and check on you to see that you're singing, or not. And here's that portion, and you get it into your ear, and then I'll turn around and lead you through the singing, whistling, and what have you of On the Mall. Got it? Maybe. Okay, we're going to play it from the top now. We only have that one section where we're going to la la la, and then here to go. The second time around, maybe? We'll see. We'll grade you after this. Here it is from the very beginning. You deserve a hand as well. Nice job. I don't know if you were watching the Winter Olympics a couple of weeks ago, but they're over. And we're looking forward to the Summer Olympic Games in Rio de Janeiro. That's in Brazil. You know where Brazil is? Absolutely. South America, absolutely. Go look it up if you don't know. They speak Portuguese there, not Spanish, which would kind of surprise me. We're going to play a piece from Brazil. It's a samba of sorts, and it's by Jobim, the most famous Brazilian composer. And I should mention before we do that the Macomb Symphony Orchestra, this very ensemble, will be doing an all-Brazilian-inspired concert on May 9th. If you have your Sharpie in your pocket, you can write it on your hand. Friday, May 9th, don't do that. Friday, May 9th, bring your parents, your neighbors, your friends, and come back and see us on an evening concert, the 9th of May, and we'll do an all-Brazilian concert. And we might even play this piece again, maybe as an encore. So here is The Girl from Ipanema, which is a beach in Brazil. Remember beaches? Even in March, it's the problem with ice and snow, I think. Thank you. Remember that about a year and a half from now when the Summer Olympics come around. The Girl from Ipanema. We're going to finish up. Enjoyed being with you. We again are the Macomb Symphony Orchestra. You can find us at macombsymphony.org on the internet, and you can see what we're doing, when we're doing it, what we're playing, who the members of the orchestra are, and a lot of other things that you might find interesting. macombsymphony.org. Come and see us on May 9th. Bring your parents back and bring neighbors, friends, colleagues, anybody you can find. We're going to finish up with another audience participation piece on New Year's Day, sometimes other times as well. In Vienna, the capital of Austria, they do this traditionally with hand clapping, and I'll lead you in the hand clapping. Certain portions of it are clapped to in rhythm, and certain other portions are just played by the orchestra. Ragazzi March by Johann Strauss Sr., the father of the famous Waltz King. And here's that little piece. We've enjoyed having you here. Come back in May. Come back next year for the youth concert.